American career where I had to literally find myself putting it on hold.
Yeah.
And no regrets. I really, truly, but I am, once I'm in, I'm committed, I'm loyal, I stick to it. It's been long relationships. Throughout.
Exactly. I'm a long-term person, that's why it takes me a while to really get there, so take your time, it's always up to us.
Yeah. The thing is that what we're realizing today with online dating on the new apps or revamping of eHarmony or Match or Tinder, OkCupid, is just this connection. I think I have this story where it really right now is we get with the texting, but we're not connecting. And you have to ask permission and say, hey, are you okay? I'm being on the phone.
Right.
Listen to your voice.
Exactly. And it's a shame that that's like a foreign thing. It's like when my phone rings, I'm like, who's calling me? Like, why are you calling me? Text me, please. It's just crazy. But it creates a disconnect. I like talking on the phone, I like hearing you. It helps me to feel you out. All this texting is like subject to your interpretation. So you can say something during text and it could really get taken the wrong way. So
it does. There's because you're not enunciating. It's like there's no emotion.
Right.
The tone of my voice, the way that I speak to you, how you receive it, and back and forth. And I will say that definitely I'm also optimistic like you are.
Yeah.
There are good women and good men out there.
Absolutely.
It takes a time, but it also takes responsibility and accountability to decide to reflect upon your own. Yes, we may be alone for a time, but it's only gonna really help us in the long term.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people don't do, is take the time to find out who you are. What do you like? What do you don't like? Because each relationship changes us in some way or another. So we don't want to continue to make the same mistakes or whatever the situation. You're always supposed to come in differently each time. At least that's how I feel about it. But, I think being alone and catering to yourself and improving yourself is always a plus. It's good.
It does. It's therapy. It's reflection. It's meditation. You're going to know what are you going to stand for? What are your values? And within each relationship, you learn something. That person that came through your path was for a reason, for a blessing, for a lesson. They were there. And that's where you're gonna know what you're made of and what you're gonna accept and what you're not gonna be acceptable. What are you gonna be able to tolerate and what you're not.
Yes, and how do you learn that except by being in relationships? So being in relationships and being single. And there's a stigma with being single. You're like, oh, you're single? Like, what's wrong with you? I mean,
do you think that it's heavier being Black woman and single these days? Is it heavier?
You know what? It can be. It used to be to the point where, I'm the oldest of 5 children, and my brothers and sisters, 2 of them are married, and they've been married for a long time. So in my family, my mother speaks highly in the expectation of marriage, not so much of society, that expectation of pressure, but within my family.
Yeah, within the way that you were brought up.
Exactly. Yeah, within my family, my mom thinks being married and having a husband is like the holy grail of relationships. And I wasn't married to the person I was with for 14 years. And the person that I was married to him for like 3 months. I was like, fuck this shit. So I'm good. I am a quick learner and this is not working for me. But,
Well, as a Latina, I will tell you, I was raised the same way. And that was the pivotal of, definition. And in the culture is like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me.
Exactly. I'm a very sensitive person, and I am so serious about relationships and commitment that I couldn't, like, the stuff that people deal with in marriages. I understand that it's a marriage and it takes commitment, compromise, and all of that stuff, but it's just some things that I just don't understand in marriages that I wouldn't be able to tolerate in a marriage if I was with somebody. And not that I'm a quitter, but I just believe that I deserve certain things. Because I'm going to give it to you 110%. You know, my eyes are only for you, and I'm going to be totally committed. So I'm not going to, you know, waver in my decision. But a lot of people do, and I don't understand that. You know, you get caught up or whatever, and like, having a side chick is like the thing now. Like, it's nothing to have somebody on the side. Not like 20 years ago they wasn't doing it, but now it's more open. You talk about it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like,
well, that's the way that, you know, and my perception, honestly, true. I understand. You know, it's like, why cheat? I'm like, just be with the person that you want to be with. It's like, time is precious. We're not here forever. Every day counts. Every minute counts. Every second counts. Be happy with who you want to be.
Right. And a lot of people are not. That's the thing. They're married to people.
They don't hold themselves accountable for that.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are not, well, some people are not comfortable in being alone, period.
Exactly. Yep.
No.
So they put up with a whole lot in a relationship just to not be alone.
I'm like, do you want that label? And I've been, you know, caught up in that society. And I think the most growing part for me, truly, I love my family and everything. And I was living in Miami for like 20 something years. But
I love Miami.
reaching out and taking that opportunity again, where again my paths were crossed. I was single, then somebody came into my life right at the moment that I was offered this job to come to LA. I took the job to LA. We obviously, the relationship became a long distance relationship, which in the long term, we try to hold on to each other, but it just had to fade out.
Yeah.
So, you know, but we learn a lot about each other.
Right.
You know.
And that's what relationships are. It's a continuous learning process.
Do you have any further thoughts? Where can we find you? Hello, my kiddos. Remember, you're listening to the Joby D Show. And you can also listen to it on your Apple Podcast, Spreaker, Catbox, Google Cast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn, and also on Spreaker and Patreon. If you like it, support it. You know what you gotta do. You gotta press that button. Press that button. Do you have anything coming up? Any book signings? What is next?
The next thing I have for me, and let me just tell you, I've never had a book signing, but next year I am. And the reason why is because I actually fear speaking in front of people.
Public
speaking. I know. And, you know, in college, I took that public speaking class for a purpose. And finally, next year, I've decided to get a chance to just use it because people do want to see me, but you know, I'm working on it. But you can find me on Instagram at LL Walton Arthur, and also on Twitter at LL Writer. That's WRITER. And if you go to my blog at llwalton.blogspot.com, you can purchase my books there, donate to my channel, and read the latest stuff that I'm, you know,
let's read, people. Let's read.
Exactly.
But this was fun, light, fun. Definitely, I love it. I really looking forward for that book signing tour.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Joby, for having me. It's been a ball.
Of course. Well, my kiddos, stay tuned. Stick around. My last thoughts. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, my kiddos. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And with LaShawn, also known as LL Walton Author. I had a great time, and definitely check out her stuff, her books on Amazon.com, and also you can follow her on Instagram and also on Twitter. And I ask you to
make sure that you rate the Joey D Show on iTunes and also on Spotify or whichever platform you are listening to my show. And I'll see you next week. Take care.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.